On Friday, the fate of Brett Kavanaugh's nomination as Supreme Court Justice will be decided following a string of damaging sex crime allegations. And since the stories came to light last week, Senator Kavanaugh has been the target of Trump's opponents. Some have questioned whether he can be presumed innocent until proven guilty.
This was attempted rape.
I believe Professor Ford, Judge Kavanaugh has lied multiple times.
Doesn't Kavanaugh have the same presumption of innocence as anyone else in America?
His credibility is already very questionable in my mind and in the minds of a lot of my fellow Judiciary Committee members, the Democrats.
You think Kavanaugh's lying, though, is what you're saying?
I believe her. Let's put it that way. There's credibility to her story.
So far, 2 allegations of sexual misconduct have been made against Kavanaugh. The first woman to come forward, Christine Blasey Ford, says he sexually assaulted her while they were at high school. The second, Deborah Ramirez, claims Kavanaugh exposed himself to her at a Yale University party in the 1980s. A third is also expected to come forward this week. Now, the allegations have led Democrats to call for Kavanaugh's nomination to the country's highest court to be blocked. On Thursday, he will give testimony on the claims leveled against him, though he does deny all allegations.
A fair process, at a minimum, at a bare minimum, requires hearing from both sides before rushing to judgment.
We invited guests to debate the possible political motives behind the story and what's happened to the idea of innocent until proven guilty.
We're convincing people who probably had no idea anything about this case or even that there was a Supreme Court nominee to suddenly think that Brett Kavanaugh is a monster based on these allegations and these paintings of how he's been. Meanwhile, all we have are the words of 2 people. That's not to say that they are lying, but we have absolutely no evidence for that. And that is simply the complete opposite of what the United States Constitution and our judicial system was set up to create.
So I don't think anybody is assuming that anybody's guilty, but that doesn't mean that we don't have a responsibility to take victims of sexual assault and sexual harassment very seriously, and I think that's what we're doing right now, particularly as it applies to the misuse of power by people, and in particular men in power in our institutions in this country. So I think right now it's perfectly plausible and important to hear out these women. A lot of people believe some very important things in danger of being overturned. And that, I think there's some very serious implications and connections
I understand the Roe v. Wade allegations, and I understand the disagreements and the fear that Roe v. Wade is going to be overturned. But again, these are more media allegations. These are more allegations from liberals stating that if Trump has his people in, if conservatives come in, then Roe v. Wade will be overturned. And all of this, that's simply not due process of the American legal system or of the Supreme Court. They can't just come in and overturn laws. There have to be cases. There have to be precedent. That this is politically motivated against Kavanaugh and has nothing to do with any evidence that's actually been brought forth besides allegations from 2 women.
All processes that bring about the interpretation and the production of law in any society is inherently political. Trump's appointment of Kavanaugh is political. There is an agenda at play here. This is a field of discussion.
You see, you mentioned that the legal system in America and the judicial system in America is actually contingent on political ideologies. But in fact, actually, the Code of Judicial Conduct itself, which all judges and all legal process people are supposed to adhere to, why do you think our founders actually pass these things, presumption of innocence? There is no presumption of innocence right now in the media. There's no presumption of innocence right now in the U.S. media.
What I'm suggesting and what many people are suggesting is that we take this seriously and put forward a real process that hears out these voices and puts forward the conversation as to, do we want to put this person into this position? Is that who we want to represent us? Is that who we want to have the capacity to decide on certain things like Roe v. Wade, amongst others?
With the point that you're making was that we need to listen to these voices. The question is now going to, is this going to be, is this the person that we want in the highest office of our judicial system at the Supreme Court of the United States? And so now we're already talking that he's guilty. I think the fault is more on the media. It's more on some of the loudest voices against this by automatically assuming that he was guilty when they came out. Of course, those aren't your voices, but those are voices from U.S. media.